Hello, and welcome to another episode of Elder Abuse Awareness Virtual Coalition. My name is Elisa Gwilliam, and today I have the pleasure to be talking with Dr. Larry Force, Professor of Psychology and Director of the Aging and Center of Disability Policy at Mount St. Mary College. Dr. Force.
Thank you, Alyssa, and welcome back, everyone. We're now at the season 3+, and the only reason that we're here is because of the good work, support, and heart of Steve Newhouse, Orange County, Anne-Marie Maglione. Typically sitting next to us, joining us on this virtual call is Anne-Marie Maglione. Anne-Marie is the director of the County Office for Aging in Orange County. And if any of you have ever met her, you know that she shows up with a real sense of professionalism and a real high spirit, and she's a tremendous advocate. She's such an advocate that she called me about 15 minutes before we came on and said, listen, I can't be there today. And the reason I can't be there today, and this is a real life situation, is that she's involved in, can I say, an investigation, a review of an abuse case. So as you know, any of you that have worked for bureaucracies or state government, you have the best plans, but when an emergency comes up, an emergency comes up. And in her place, she's asked Danielle Diana Smith to join us. And Danielle is the Assistant Director of the County Office for Aging. So with that, I would like, I think this makes sense that we go around. I would like to introduce and welcome Danielle for her to provide her perspective of this initiative.
Hi, Dr. Force. How are you? It's so good to see everybody. Yes, like you said, Anne-Marie is tied up dealing with this very issue that we talk about. What we do at the Office for the Aging is, we provide programs and services for those that are 60 and older in the county. We deal very closely with Tim Murphy at Adult Protective Services on pretty, heavy duty abuse cases. We talk to Dr. Force, on a very regular basis. And it's just a really great collaboration. What we're trying to do here to bring awareness in this very important real life issue that comes up in all of our lives on an almost daily basis.
Well, I have to tell you that, and I mentioned this before, Jeff Kahana, Dr. Kahana, a dear friend and colleague, we direct the Center on Aging and Disability Policy at the college. And that was initiated about 14 years ago based upon an NIH grant, National Institute of Aging grant. And in that NIH grant, our task was to survey nationally AAAs, area agencies on aging in the United States. And I had worked for government for years, so I was always under the impression that how it was done in New York is how it was done nationwide. Because in New York, every AAA area agency on aging that you represent in Orange County is government. Only to find out very few states have government, run AAAs. And a lot of them are nonprofit, so they're competing against each other. So it's a different model. And as a result of that project, we were able to meet people nationwide. We centered in New York, Ohio, and Florida, but it also brought us in touch with people throughout the country. And I've said this privately, and I've said this, I'm saying this again publicly, you and your staff and Anne-Marie, you're standouts. You really are. And I'm not just saying that for the benefit of this video call. You really are. You represent people that typically cannot represent themselves. You give voice to people that in many cases are underserved. So with that, we thank you. We give you a tip of the hat, and we're so glad you're here, Danielle.
Thank you.
Larry, before you go on, Danielle, a lot of my clients are in need of your services, but they don't know that you actually offer those services. Can you give us a little summary of what else you do?
Sure. Anne-Marie says that all the time. It's like we're the best kept secret. A lot of times people don't reach out to us until they're in crisis. It's the 11th hour. They have no support. They don't even know where to begin. So yes, we are constantly out there. Anne Marie is, on the forefront. She's on a lot of different committees at the state level, the national level, and is always bringing back, information just for our office to do better and just to make sure that we're always on the forefront of what's going on. Some of the programs that we offer, one of our biggest programs is our meal program. We are out in the community delivering home delivered meals to about 900 clients a day.
Wow.
We also have a congregate dining site, which is very important, to keep the social aspect of it and to get everybody in our congregate dining sites where they get nutrition counseling and they get exercise and they can meet with other people in their communities. We contract with legal services of the Hudson Valley for, legal advice. We have a tax aid program. We have high cap program, which is our insurance and Medicare program. We have case managers. The biggest part, one of the other biggest parts of our office is our New York Connects. That's where all of our calls come into our office, and it serves as information and assistance, where if we can't provide the service directly, we have thousands of people that we could call right at our fingertips. I'm trying to think what else, Sandy. And then we do a lot of, health and wellness and education programs. Tomorrow, we're having our 9th annual Senior Health and Fitness Day over at Thomas Bull Memorial Park. We're doing a big falls prevention day at the end of the month. We do Tai Chi programs. So it's really, we like to think of our office as where you could go to, and all of our programs and services are available to help the person stay independently, living safely in their home. So if you think of, anything that you might need, home care, meals, legal services, whatever we can offer to help you stay safely, independently living at home as long as you can, is what our office does.
I just want to mention, your office did a great job of pairing seniors with a place to get vaccinations when they weren't so readily available. And you're so great at that. And I don't know if you're going to do the same for boosters or anything like that, but
yeah,
it was exceptional what you did for that. And I really applaud you.
Thank you. Yeah, we haven't heard, we're starting to hear little rumblings about what we're doing with the boosters. We may have to get involved again with setting up some of these vaccine clinics, but we don't have too much information about that just yet. But Anne Marie did kind of say at the end of last week, just to be ready, we might have to get back out there again. So,
and building upon what Sandy said, and in order to provide an introduction, this was Sandy Altman that was speaking, who is an attorney and a tremendous advocate. And building upon what he said, you and your office were truly recognized, I know, through the administration of Orange County and through the network that you work in, for the work that you did do in providing presence during the vaccine. So again, an acknowledgement. How we ended up getting here, as a coalition was COVID. We're needed now more than we thought we were at the beginning, because everything is so upside down. The mixed messages, now the boosters, now who gets vaccinated, who can get in, who can get access to certain things, what's being mandated. So it's really an interesting time, and you and Anne Marie and the staff of your office have really been able to clear a path for us. So we want to thank you for that. At this point, I'd like to introduce Tim Murphy. Tim is, again, a friend. And one of the things you'll find throughout all of this is that if you added up the number of years that we've all known each other, it's probably coming up to like over 300 years collectively. We know each other, we like each other, and we enjoy working together. And you'll find that in the themes. We're talking about a serious topic, a very serious topic, but we're talking about it based upon our style. And I think that our collective style allows us to get the message out that, look, you don't have to do this alone. One of the things, and I think that was a good question from Sandy, because Danielle then highlighted, just gave you a snapshot of some of the things, the services. And the fact is, you don't have to do this alone. And even during these times of, not that we're strictly quarantined now, but who's open, we're always open. We are always available. And when it comes to an elder abuse issue, we are open 24/7. And with that, I'd like to introduce Tim, who is the Director of the Adult Protective Services, Orange County. Tim?
Thanks, Larry. Good morning to you all. So I'm one of the supervisors here in Orange County for Adult Protective Services. We are the point agency for investigations of abuse and neglect of impaired adults, not just seniors. So it is a dynamic place to practice social work, and investigating issues of neglect and abuse is certainly extremely challenging. One of the things that this coalition does for our community at large, it broadens the scope that our staff don't have to do this work alone. And we need support from many other places. Our partner, county partner Office of the Aging, is literally right next door to us. We work with them frequently, share information quickly, make joint referrals and joint assessments. But because of the coalition, I've been able to meet Elisa and now Sharon from Jewish Family Services Ulster, and they both provide a unique role for us. This kind of work takes its toll on staff. And some of the stories and things that we see are gut-wrenching. Making decisions foreign about people who are impaired, end-of-life decisions, money decisions is really tough. So we turn to the Hudson Valley Healing Center to support our staff. And through the grant and the contacts with Alyssa, I can do a better job of taking care of our social workers and caseworkers who work in this practice. Because of the introduction of the coalition, I met Sharon at Jewish Family Services Ulster. And I'll let Sharon talk a little bit about EMDT, which is an enhanced multidisciplinary team to help us investigate cases of financial exploitation. So this is a community-based effort. And as Dr. Force said, we can't do it alone. We need all of the community and the Hudson Valley community to step up and come with us and take a look at this phenomenon that we call elder abuse, and working with people who are the perfect victim because of their level of impairment or age. It's a tough place to work, but it's gratifying, and it's even more gratifying to take a look at the scope of services that's available through the Hudson Valley, and to know that this coalition will reach anybody who cares to listen, not just here in the Valley, but around the state and the nation now. So I appreciate your camaraderie and help in making this practice really work well here in Orange County.
Thank you, Tim. And you're an important presence and voice regarding the issue of elder abuse awareness, for sure. And with that, I'd like to introduce, again, a long time friend, Sharon Murray Cohen, who's the Executive Director of Jewish Family Services in Ulster County. And joining her today is her intern, Kayla from Marist. And so Sharon, if you could provide a quick overview. And you're muted again.
Okay, Jewish Family Services in the end of 2018 applied for a grant which was put out by Lifespan of New York. Lifespan is an agency that is located in the Rochester area and has done a great deal of work in the area of elder abuse. And they were looking for providers to do what is called a hub. Our hub is 5 counties: Ulster, Orange, Dutchess, Sullivan, and Rockland County. And the purpose of the hub is to bring together individuals within each of those counties, set up a separate EMDT in each county and provide the resources for the county and those individuals who are members of the EMDT in order to better investigate the elder abuse cases that are occurring. What we bring to the table is funds for a forensic psychiatrist, funds for a forensic accountant, and funds for legal services to better assist the county OFA and Adult Protective Services, who actually is the lead agency in investigations for elder abuse throughout New York State. And I have to say that Orange County is one of my favorite counties to work in because you guys are absolutely fabulous.
Well, thank you, Sharon. And we're so glad you're here. Voice. Is it, at this point, could you just quickly introduce Kayla?
Sure. Kayla McGuire is a senior at Marist. She is a BSW student and she is doing her internship here. She's also a student in my methods class, and that investigates macro and micro social work services. And the good news is that we provide both. So she's going to get the experience of dealing with macro issues as well as micro issues, dealing directly with clients, doing some community organizing, perhaps even doing some grant writing.
Well, Kayla, we're so glad you're here, and the experience you're going to get working with Sharon is going to be invaluable. Alyssa, could you spend a moment and just provide a profile of, you know, the Healing Center and some of the things that you're doing in addressing, beyond the moderating, but in addressing elder abuse issues, and as Tim mentioned, for staff as well?
Yeah, so our facility was fortunate enough to partner with Adult Protective Services in Orange County and Dr. Force and go through helping caseworkers handle and deal with issues that they come across. Special, you know, acts of violence and acts of cruelty against our population. And it was rewarding, I think, on both sides.
And
So,
I think, right, as Tim indicated, it's real, it's, you know, when we talk about elder abuse and first responders, you know, obviously the impact on family being a witness, on the individual being victimized, but on staff, you know, the impact of staff of going in there and seeing things that they couldn't even describe, and then how to go about dealing with that. So your organization, your you know, what you bring to the table, you know, and as I've said this before, individually and publicly, that it's not just what you're doing as far as bringing a focus on wellness and health to the Hudson Valley, but it's that informal network that of healers that you've stitched together behind the scenes, you know, and as a result of that, you know, people being able to experience a whole approach and a whole array of complementary and holistic services. So thank you. Danielle Maglione. Danielle is here, again, joining us now for season 3. We're so glad you're here. And the fact is that if you could just introduce yourself, and one of the things that Danielle is able to do is, it's like herding cats, you know, getting everybody together. And you've done a great job of being able to do that, and we're so glad you're here. So with that, I'd like to introduce Danielle.
Hello, everyone. My name's Danielle Maglione. I, just like Dr. Larry Force says, I gather everybody. I send out the Zoom calls every morning for the Zoom link, or the Zoom link for the Zoom calls. And I gather everything up for the call. I'm also an occupational therapy assistant, and I specialize in elderly, in geriatrics. Sorry.
And I think there's a nice match and a match for what you're doing, what you're seeing. And I think that, and I've had conversations with you offline as well. This is really a gift, being able to meet the type of leaders that are on this, on this call here today. I mean, it's Caleb, for you, the connections are unbelievable. Caleb, for you, I'd recommend you jump on LinkedIn and start to develop your network. Danielle, the connections that, and what you bring to the table, and also what you walk away with. I know that it's been a win-win for everybody. So we're so glad you're here. Randy Heller. Randy Heller, maybe we can refer to him by his code name, the Magician, okay? Because he took what we had, which was, we developed, interestingly enough, from COVID came in, and I'm involved in another initiative called Proactive Caring, and we had no other opportunity but to go virtual, and it worked. We took a mailing list of 450, and now we're up over 4,000. It really worked because we had no way to assemble people. And I called Anne-Marie and Tim and Jerry and Alyssa, and they came to the table. And the fact is, then Sharon came in, and then Sandy came in, and within 11 days from the time that initial call was made, we were up and running. So a real credit. Alyssa, you did a tremendous job in moving this forward, to get us up and running. Now, Randy has joined the team because of the fact that our intent now is, look, we've developed a presence locally. We've developed a presence statewide. We've developed, now this focus is going to be on developing a national voice regarding elder abuse and elder abuse awareness. So Randy, I'd like to introduce you and welcome you to this initiative.
Thanks, Larry. Yeah, my name is Randy Heller. I've been in web development and marketing for about 25 years now. I came out of, though, having a master's degree in creative writing. So a lot of that's informed a lot of what I've done in marketing and web, because what I'm always really looking for is the story behind, whether it's a business or a nonprofit organization. And having done it this long, I'm primarily interested in working with clients who have a story to tell, who are purpose-driven and really care about what it is they're doing, not just selling widgets, but really care about what they're doing. So when I became aware of this, through Anne-Marie, there was just such a powerful story, being told here, whether both the story of the people that the podcast, that the videocast serves, but also how it all came together. And all, I could see that all it really needed was a bit of spit and polish and a different packaging to make it a little more accessible and available to people. And so that's really what I brought to the table, was just, if I'm a magician, it's because I'm, the trick is I just take what's already there and just bring it, just make it stronger. So that's really what that's all I've really done, is just taken the gold that was already there and sort of shined it up so that everybody can see, what a powerful message it is, and how they can be involved in the process, or how, for those who are, elderly, how they can empower themselves to make a difference for themselves. So.
Well,
and I'm really happy to be part of the team.
And we're happy that you're here as well. And what I was really impressed with is that the effort that you put into going back and listening to the voice of all of those, video casts that we put together, to really be able to stitch together a unified voice. And in a moment, we're going to, show, and one of the things of today that we're very happy about is being able to launch our new website. But you really did a tremendous job. And along with you now has come another important member of the team, and that's Teresa Steff. Teresa and I met through a mutual friend a number of months ago. I have her involved in a couple of projects, and her background is in marketing. And, as Randy said, be able to put together take away from the things that we put together. But now the idea is be able to broadcast this so that we're not the best kept secret, to be able to broadcast this nationally. And what Teresa brings to the team is an expertise in marketing and social media. So Teresa, for a moment, please, I'd like you to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so my past experience is specifically in nonprofit marketing. And I guess the goal would be to bring more traffic to the website just by getting the name out there. So we're working on a really robust marketing plan through social media and more frequent, I guess, emails just to try and get on everyone's radar. And then eventually, if there's a conference and keynote speakers, really highlighting them and bringing everyone back to the website.
Right, and I think that, your statement about, well, it's really my words here, but it's in line with what you're saying, a dedicated focus, your dedicated focus to social media. That's an important key here. So we're so
Yeah.
glad that you.
And frequency, just continuing to be on people's radar.
Right. And we're so glad you're here and the skill set you bring to the table. So with that, are we ready? We ready for the unveiling? So let me just share my screen. And when I talk about, you can now see my screen. So here we are. Drum roll, but here we are. So what started off as a conversation and then started off as piecing this together very quickly. This is the Elder Abuse Awareness Virtual Coalition website. And the domain for it is just that, eaavc.org. And on here, what you can see is, I'll walk you through this quickly, but I love the color scheme. Here's about the coalition. We started, discussions. How we got here is that in Orange County, the college at Mount St. Mary, Orange County Office for Aging, Tim Murphy, and the St. Luke's Medical Center, we were involved in a coalition, and we were able to participate and host a conference. And there were 500 people at that conference. The days of trying to get 500 people, when we first started this virtual approach, we saw as being, in the distant future. And the reality is it's still in the distant future. So that's why we went virtual. And you can see that one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that people understood that although things were closed down or people were being quarantined, that we were here. And we know from people listening and giving us feedback, and here are some of the team members here, myself and Anne-Marie and Tim and Alyssa and Jerry and Sandy and Sharon and Jeffrey and Diana Valentin Miller. Diana Valentin Miller was a former student of mine, wizard. She is now graduated and now into the financial network arena, and she is just so easy to work with. And then Danielle, we're definitely going to need a better headshot than that one right there. All right, so
I'll get you one.
If you could send it to Randy, and Randy could, it's not a bad shot, but it really doesn't represent, who you are. So
Sounds good.
So these are this is an example of, our podcast, season 1, season 2. And now what will happen is that, and here they are. And Randy, again, a tip of the hat. Each of our podcasts are here. Some agencies are using these podcasts for in-service training. One of the people that's involved, heavily involved, but she was not able to make it because of a schedule conflict today, is Dr. Jerry Abbottiello. Jerry, again, is somebody that I've known for over 25 years. She is, she's unbelievable. She has such a spirit and presence to herself. Her focus is typically on training and practices on end-of-life care, grief, loss, and pain management. And she's done a nice job of getting her voice weaved into this. And I think it's, when you start to see some of her work, you'll see that, I'm getting links here. When you start to see some of her work, you'll realize, how valuable it is. When it comes to education, one of the things that we want to be is we want to be a resource. So the fact is that we, in other projects I'm involved in, I don't refer to them as websites. I refer to them as digital resource centers, something that we want to leave behind, and it's fluid. We're continuing to build upon it. So Kayla, I'm assuming that in working with Sharon, she's going to have you develop some type of product as an outcome. And whether it be a directory or whatever it be, please know that, you know, once that's done, then we can upload it on our digital resource center, on our website, to make it available for everyone. One of the things that we talk about a lot is we talk about scams. And scams are becoming very, very sophisticated. And people of all ages and all, you know, pedigrees end up getting caught in it. Quick example, I love Amtrak. I ended up getting an Amtrak MasterCard. I love gathering miles. I love the train. And I go to an event where the county executive from Dutchess is going to give a keynote speech. So I just got the card, and I go to this event, and I'm sitting there waiting for him to start speaking. And all of a sudden I get a notification from the card that there was a problem with uploading some of my data. I need to contact them immediately. I ran out to the lobby of the hotel, contacted them. I gave them everything but a retina scan and a fingerprint. I gave them everything. Okay, full social security number, address, back numbers of the card, the whole bit. And then I ran back in and sat down as he was talking. And then about 20 minutes later, I said, what if it really wasn't them? So when he finished talking, I go out and I call the Amtrak host of the card, and guess what? It wasn't them. And now they had everything. I mean, everything except, like I said, a retina scan and a thumbprint. So then, you know, you have to go through the whole thing of guarding your credit for a year and all the other stuff. Financial violations, financial abuse. When we think about elder abuse, we always think about, you know, it's physical. You know, it's not always physical. It can be financial. It can be emotional. Typically, when we would have conferences in Orange County, Anne-Marie and Danielle would put together a host of presenters. And I always asked if I could go last. And the reason I wanted to go last is because I wanted to deliver a different message. So they would have the sheriff and the DA and somebody from the medical center, and they would be talking about what happens, you know, upon the delivery of the abuse and everything else. And I really wanted to shift the paradigm to talk about before the abuse happens. And one of the things that I said, and I said it to get a reaction in order to plant the seed, is the one way that we could address elder abuse is to teach people to fight back. And then you would watch the people's eyes when I said that. You know, what are you talking about? Teach people to fight back, and that'll stop it. And I didn't mean physically fight back. I meant attitudinally. The fact is, just like we have this whole focus in grammar school and in high school about you know, the use of cigarettes or sex you know, campaigns or whatever, I think we need to do the same thing with elder abuse. One of the first things I do when I present to a large crowd in person is I ask them to cower, put their heads down on their knees and put their hands over their head, because I want them to practice that. Because if they don't end up standing up for themselves, that's the position they're going to be in. They're going to be cowering. And if you don't want to cower, then you got to learn how to fight back. So you get to the point of an attitude of, how dare you even think about violating me? You know, this idea of giving voice to older people. We've talked about this a lot. You know, my friend Roger Monti and I have had many conversations across time with the work that we do, a consulting firm called H-Plan. And one of the things we talk about is what? Hey, look, it's all about, aging is all about liquidate everything. I read a story one time, not a story, an article about somebody that did a study at Columbia in nursing homes. And they said that the only thing that elders really have a choice of is dessert, you know, because everything else is given to them or done for them. And the work that Sandy and I are doing with this Age Loudly campaign, you know, the idea of age loudly, like don't even think about trying to violate me. And that's an attitude that doesn't start at the age of 65. That's an attitude that should come all the way through life with a focus on purpose and meaning. So these are the resources here. And as you can see, you know, there's some and there'll be more, and we're going to continue to build upon it. We had Lori Labai on for one of our podcasts. Lori and I have known each other probably about 15 years. She's come to some of the conferences that I've hosted, but we've never been in the same room. And this is before all the Zoom stuff. I think we were using Skype or something. She's out in Minnesota. She's a realtor by trade. She's minding her own business, successful businesswoman. And the next thing you know, she wakes up and holding in her arms is that of her mother with Alzheimer's disease. And as a result of that, she entered this new world and saw that there was a gap in services and took those business skills and then brought it into, the world of Alzheimer's and developed a whole cottage industry, a national cottage industry recognized by Dr. Oz, recognized by Oprah on the area of Alzheimer's Speaks. And she is truly an advocate. She's come on, we've taken, she does a revenue ad campaign. We've taken one of her ads on her dementia map program, which she's now started. And what we want to be able to do is be able to continue to build this resource page. Contact us again, and this is where Teresa's coming in, with really highlighting the focus on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, social media. I'm a big believer. I love LinkedIn. I'm a big believer in the power of connections. So we are really proud to be where we are today, and we wouldn't be here without a collective effort. So, nice job, friends. Really nice job. So I'm going to stop sharing now for a moment, and then we'll have some summary comments, and then we'll turn it back over to Elisa, and we'll move on to our next episode 2 weeks from now. Anybody, any comments, summary comments? Sandy? Like the way he raises his hand. I love that, the way he raises his hand. Sandy?
You won't see that often, Larry. So, yeah. I know, Larry, that because of our podcast experience, you don't like handing me the mic. So thank you.
I'm telling you, now that Sandy has the mic, go and get some lunch, okay? About an hour.
Okay, so from a legal perspective, I just want to add this because to mention this before. There's a lot of stuff that's going on that as seniors we have to look out for, and for example, when Governor Cuomo was still around and the state was going poor because we weren't getting money from Washington, he decided it would be a great idea to get less spending on Medicaid. Medicaid is very important. It's the only federal program that has that actually takes care of long-term care, like nursing homes, like home care, things like that. And basically, he made it harder for people to become eligible for Medicaid for home care. Everything is now at a standstill. You may not be aware that since we have this federal health emergency that's been declared because of COVID, and it was supposed to stop, but it's not stopping, and the emergency declaration goes on. What that means is that things like applicants for Medicaid cannot be denied because that's on hold. There's all kinds of things on hold like that. And also, Medicaid doesn't know what they're doing because it's all dependent on the national stuff, and it's very, very crazy. We have differences between what Rockland County does and what Orange County does, and everyone's supposed to be on the same page. They're not. So it makes it more difficult because Department of Health, Department of Social Services doesn't know what's going to happen after the declaration is over. So it's something to keep an eye on because it's going to affect us here. And the change in eligibility for home care, you have to look out for as well. We should be able, now that we are getting money from Washington, they should wipe that out, that change they made, and make it easier for us. So, look at your local legislators and see if they can take care of that and free us from
And
that.
Sandy, as you're talking, but you've given me an idea about, and I think that you'll agree with it as everyone else. Look, there's been a change, it's not a secret. Nationwide, statewide, there's been a change in leadership in state government. Will that influence, will that impact, the changes of policies, eligibility, doors open, doors closed? So as we're talking about, our next episode in 2 weeks, I would like to frame it out and name it Elder Abuse Awareness, Navigating the Maze. And really have a discussion about some of these, real life things that need to be done. So if you could block out your calendar for 2 weeks from today at this time, I'd ask that you come back and really help us spearhead the discussion about elder abuse awareness, navigating the maze. And the invitation is for Sharon.
I'd like to tag on to what Sandy is saying. And one of the things that is becoming more and more difficult to do, along with the issues that go along with Medicaid, is finding home health aides. We have a severe shortage of home health aides. I have very frail clients in 4 counties. I don't do Orange County for the claims conference and Holocaust survivors, but I do the other counties. And finding a home health aide is like looking for a needle in the haystack. You cannot pay people $12.75 an hour in this day and age. They are just not going to work for it, especially considering the work they need to do. So something needs to be done there soon, or otherwise we are going to have a crisis situation.
And Sharon, you and I have had these talk about the shortage in home health care aides. And then the Kaylas of the world show up, the college students that could really be part of the solution, because many of the college students are working, 1 job, 2 jobs, working in the malls, working at McDonald's, whatever. And the fact is they don't necessarily have to be trained as nurses, because a lot of the things, and Tim and everybody else that's involved on a daily basis, a lot of it is presence, a lot of it is socialization. And one of the things that we could talk about in navigating the maze is maybe some cutting edge solutions. And I think these are the types of discussions that will bring us up to the national level. Sharon, you and I have a long history, and we've never really been shy of being provocative. And I think that, maybe what we have is we have some discussions about cutting edge or provocative types of solutions, because the existing system is not working.
No, it is not. And it's really ridiculous when Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, all of the fast food places are now paying between $15 and $17 an hour.
That's really true, and especially like in our county, Orange County, a lot of the sites for home care are rural. That means people have to have a car, they have to have insurance, and where they can walk down the block and go to McDonald's and get more pay. Who's going to do that?
At this point, you could see that this conversation could go on amongst friends for a long time. And what I recommend at this point, as we bring summary comments to this, is that we hold off on this discussion, because it's an important discussion, until next time. So with that, anyone else have any other comments? Danielle, I'd like to, Danielle Diana Smith, as being involved in the sponsor agency, please comment. And I know you're only going to say good things about the stuff that we're doing. And how
it's great. Anne-Marie usually, it represents our office, so I don't know too much about it, but just what you've shown me and the website and everything, it's great. You guys are doing great things. And Sharon, We deal with the aid shortage on a daily basis in our office. We contract with 2 home care agencies. And our wait lists are just incredible right now because we had an issue prior to this. Now the issue is even worse. So we get it. And Anne Marie and I are, and Dr. Force, and we're always trying to come up with new innovative ways to do things, but we're going to have a real serious issue in this county and surrounding counties probably sooner than later with the aid shortage. So yeah, we'd love to have a conversation about what we could do.
And one of the things that Teresa had mentioned, she had talked about this issue of a conference. And I remember years ago, Jeff Kahan and I, when I just retired from the state, I took him up to Albany. And I said to him that he's going to hear things that he's not familiar with. People are going to ask me about my time. They don't mean the time of the day. They're going to want to know how much time did I have before I retired. You know, it's a civil service type of discussion. So we met with people in the aging, State Office for Aging, and we're driving home on the Taconic. I'll never forget this. And we started talking. And one of the things we talked about is, what is the Aging Network doing for older employees in the Aging Network? You know, we talk a lot about what the Aging Network is doing for other people, but what are they doing for their own employees? And from that conversation, Jeff and I put together a summit called Aging Doing Aging. And it was, what's the Aging Network nationwide doing for workers that are older? And then we had people from advocates from New York and agency representatives and people from Washington. And we had it at the FDR library. So maybe what we do is we start to think about that. Well, one of the things that we can do, because we were very successful when we were doing it face-to-face, is put together like a virtual summit about some of these issues that we're talking about. But based upon time constraint, at this point, I have to move to summary. And if there's anyone else that has any comments at that point, I will turn it over to Melissa. And thank you all for your dedication and your involvement in this important initiative. Lisa?
Yeah, well, just remember, you're not alone. You can reach out to the New York Connect at 845-615-3710 for yourself or if someone you know, someone that needs assistance. And thank you so much for joining us today. You've been listening to Elder Abuse Awareness Virtual Coalition. And if you want to hear this program again, share it with friends or even comment on it, log on to our website or social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We hope you can join us again next time.
Thank you all.